Welcome back to Sunrise Daily. Now in our Lagos studios away from Abuja, and we're still focusing on how best to police a country. From our guest in Abuja who says that the population is hitting there about 200 million. But to look at SARS specifically, I'm being joined on the show by Dennis Amakri, he's the security consultant, a former SSS operative as well. Thank you so much indeed for coming on Sunrise
Good
Daily
morning.
this morning. Now from 1991, I think that's when we started the advent of SARS in this country. What's your assessment of the developments when it was SARS and then it became FSARS and now it has been decentralized? How has anything changed?
Well, nothing has really changed because we have been running around without addressing the issue. You know, when something happens, we try to, the fire brigade method, you know, we put that fire out and then, of course, we look for another thing to happen again, then something else will happen. Don't forget that most of these units or even other security agencies all came out from the police. The police, which is the mother institution, which is supposed to take care of all these problems of internal security, you know, has been decimated gradually. When you have a border problems, you know, they formed immigration out of it, custom came out of it, EFCC is coming out of it. Then we have the mobile police force, which is supposed to be for riot control. You know, and they came out and they are not doing that anymore now. They are being attached to VIPs or net worth individuals who have money to pay for them. So they go around not doing that job. And then we have to now create SARS. And then, of course, we have to create a federal SARS. And then we have to create SACs. You know, so these things are coming out and we keep on creating little units to take care of them, and these units are not well trained to take care of those issues that they were trained for or they were created for.
So if they're not well trained, I mean, that's a huge risk on the side of the citizens, because yes, if the police who are given these arms, especially SARS, because their primary function was to tackle armed robbery. Yes. I remember that Michael Kiro, when he was commissioner of police in Lagos State, before he rose, excuse me, rose to become IG, his intention was that SARS will come out as a hit squad and hit armed robbery. He succeeded to a large extent yes, in Lagos State, because the crime rate drastically, or at least armed robbery rate at that time, drastically reduced. But if that kind of training at that time and the kind of mentality that was given to those officers at that time is failing at this time, what then must be done?
I think if there was training at all, it was haphazard in nature. Because if you are going to train officers to take care of a particular situation, kidnapping, terrorism, anti-terrorism, you know, or armed robbery, those people are supposed to be trained, well trained. You are forming SARS, special anti-robbery squads. I think basically they try to get it from the American SWAT, you know, special weapons and tactics. Those are well trained officers who don't even come out. They are on standby in their offices. When there is any problem, you call them and they come out. And when they come out, they will handle that problem and then go back to where they came from. Now you create SARS, and the SARS themselves, okay, if you want to catch a monkey, you behave like a monkey, right? So SARS should not wear uniforms. So you have people holding guns without uniforms, not actually looking like the armed robbers themselves. So how do you now differentiate who is an armed robber or who is a legal police officer, you know, from SARS? So these are the things that we've tried to do, and they are not working. I think as long as they are not working, we should be able to now call back, go back to the drawing board and say, look, these things are not working. Let us do a reorientation, you know, and do whatever we have to do to make sure that things work in place. You don't bring out, okay, anti-cultism. The training, I don't really know the kind of training they gave them, but I think they gave them some kind of profiling training where they feel that, okay, if he's wearing dreadlocks, he has tattoo all over his body, he's carrying a very expensive phone, he must be a Yahoo boy or he must be a cult boy. And then you now, you know, and that's what we are having right now.
Is that the kind of training? I mean, one would expect
profiling.
One would expect that when you talk about training,
yes,
there are some texts that must go through. There are
yes,
some references that you must go through, and it will take a period, say 6 months.
Correct.
But does that happen?
It happens, but I don't know the content. That's what I'm saying. I don't know the content, and I believe that in things like this, one course that should be there would be profiling. Profiling is very, very important because you don't just pick people out in the public and then say you are an armed robber or you are a cult member or you are this or that. So if you are profiling people, you look at it very well. In all police training internationally, profiling is a very big course whereby a policeman will look at you psychologically. He will know that this guy has criminal tendencies or he has some other things that we should probe further. So if you are profiling somebody, you don't profile them based on the kind of hair they are wearing. In this Africa, a lot of kids were grown, they were born with dreadlocks, And then, of course, tattoos. It's becoming very, very common. People are wearing tattoos all over the place, girls, boys, all over the place. And then, of course, telephones.
So it becomes increasingly a challenge.
It's a challenge for them to sift through this profile to really get who they want. It's not by putting a blanket on it that if you carry an iPhone X, then you must be a Yahoo boy or you must be some kind of criminal.
No, this is the boy that was killed, Kolade Johnson, by a trigger. They call it trigger-hungry policeman, but he said that it was a mistake and that he shot in the air, and he's a SSS operative too, and this immediately makes a lot of people uncomfortable, and then it brings back memories of when SARS started, and then the hashtag #EndSARS campaign began on social media, even on mainstream media, and it seems to be back again with the killing of Kolade Johnson. Although the policeman Olalekan in question here is going to go undergo trial. But is that enough deterrent?
The thing is that we have already gone wrong by issuing arms to each and every person in the police. The arms that are given to the policemen are not controlled. I remember when I was in service, if you are given 100 rounds of ammunition and you go and during your operation you expended some, when you come back you are going to write a report and explain how you expended those bullets. But these days, policemen will go and start firing anyhow in the air because they know that they are not going to account for it. And some people are not even trained. I don't know how long this particular person you are mentioning, when was the last time he was in a shooting range to be trained on how to use his firearms? How long has he dismantled his guns and put them back together to understand the workings of that firearm? Many people don't. They just give it to them and then they don't even put them on safety. So you find out that we have situations where they say, oh, accidental discharge. You kill innocent people. Oh, it was an accidental discharge. How can it be accidental? A trained policeman can never do an accidental discharge because he understands his weapon and he knows how to use them. And he cannot shoot the wrong person because if he was going to range, there are different kinds of profiles that are given to him to fire at. And he should be able to know that the bad guys from the wrong guys.
Because this was at a football viewing center, and
Exactly.
One would imagine that these are just football lovers, football fans, just trying to watch the match. But if he says that he shot in the air, and
why should he shoot in the air?
And then he says,
you know, that's the question. The first question: why should he shoot in the air? Why are you shooting in the air? To scare everybody, or to arrest a particular person? Why is he shooting in the air?
Anyway, since it's going to go to court, and it's going to be a very interesting one to see what the outcomes will be. But do you think in Nigeria today, our country, not to try to sound negative, but do people actually aspire to join the Nigerian police force? Talk more of being a member of an operative of SSS.
Yeah, if you put out an application today for recruitment into the officer corps of the Nigerian police, or even other ranks, you want to fill up about maybe 100,000 positions, you will get more than 2 million people applying.
That's because of the unemployment rate.
Very, very much. The unemployment rate. So people feel that, okay, you know, if I'm not doing anything, at least let me go into the police.
So it's like, is it seen as a last resort to people?
Yeah.
Instead of a professional security outfit?
Yes, for many, it is a last resort. If it's a job, let's go take it. And that is something that people in governance, our government people, have to start thinking about. You know, the unemployment has different kinds of residuals that comes with it, whereby people will either go there and say, okay, I want to work even in the civil service. I want to work in the civil service. And if they get the civil service job, they are not going to do anything. They know that they are not going to do anything. They just receive the salary at the end of the month while they are doing other things that they want to do, buying and selling or something like that. So people go and say, okay, let me join the police. And thank God, if I get an arm, if I'm issued a gun, I can use that gun to do a lot of things.
Is that the mind thinking?
It is very, very possible that that's the thinking. Because you find out that the gun now becomes an identity. You know, you see somebody, look, good policing does not even need arms. Bobbies don't carry arms. The Metropolitan Police in London, they don't carry guns. You know, they carry batons. And if they are suspecting a group of people drinking and watching football and they believe that there will be criminal, you know, elements in there, they will even infiltrate that group and stay with them to find out who are the real criminals. And then report, and then, of course, isolate that person and arrest the person. Not going there and shooting in the air and saying that you are trying to look for cult members. Doesn't make any sense.
But you are the expert, and you've had cause to deal with this kind of situations
yes.
from a very top position. But one will wonder what's the thinking of the commander-in-chief, because people have come out, security experts like you, come out to outline the kinds of security challenges that we face. For instance, they say the most serious in hierarchy, the most serious is Boko Haram terrorists, then Fulani terrorists, herdsmen terrorists, yes. And then SARS comes in number 3, and then kidnappers, and then armed robbers. Out of these 4, they believe the SARS is the easiest to handle. So then, what is going on?
You know, it's very, very unfortunate. Very, very unfortunate that a government agency is listed among terrorist groups, because actually they are terrorizing the people. They are supposed to protect the people. You know, the colleagues in Abuja was interviewing a colleague of mine who was taken hostage, and he mentioned it. Series of roadblocks all along the highway. Every 500 meters you see a police checkpoint. Now, the idea would be for people to have a peace of mind that, yes, there are policemen there, so there will be no problem. Let's drive through. But it becomes a problem because either there's going to be a toll gate or robbers will be hanging around to rob people, you know, when they see you know, outside that particular checkpoint. So it is a situation where I think we have to go back to the drawing board. This is not working. It's not working at all.
But we cannot scrap SARS.
You can scrap them. Scrap SARS, form a better unit with special weapons and tactics that are going to be trained specially for interventions.
Are you going to have to recruit a fresh set of people, or is this going to be the same people that will go into, move from SARS to your proposed new outfit?
Yeah, even in the SARS itself, there are fine officers. There are fine officers. In the police force itself, you have very fine officers who I know a lot of them. I know some of them who even rose to become IG are my friends, you know, and they are fine officers. They know what to do. They have the ideas. But what happens in the field is the problem we are having right now. And that could be a situation of command and control, whereby the people in the field have a different psychology, their psyche is different on what they want to do for the public. They don't see the public, they don't see themselves as servants of the public. You know, they don't see themselves as servants of the public. And it's a situation where they are waiting for you to commit a crime so that they will grab you and squeeze you and shake you down for something instead of directing you on the right thing to do.
What is it in this case? Tell us, because if it is purpose-driven, if SARS is purpose-driven and we get to a point where those who are campaigning to end SARS succeed, are we going to be running a more sensitively volatile society?
What SARS has done is give the police a bad name. And I think the police can decide to end all these little units, SARS, FSARS, SACS, you know, end all of them, reorganize the police force, create a special unit for response, for kidnapping, for anti-terrorism, and stuff like that. Let's say there is a situation of hijack now. A plane has been hijacked and it landed in the Murtala Mohammed Airport. Who is going to respond? We need a special response team that will go down to the airport and respond to that situation.
We have a counterterrorism unit.
The counterterrorism unit, have you seen them before? Have they done anything? You know, this is the problem. Are they trained to do it? I remember there was a time a Nigerian airline was hijacked and taken down to Niger Republic. It was the special unit of that country, Niger, that went and saved that plane. You know, and that was a fantastic operation. I have a colleague who was in the plane when it happened, and before they knew it, the plane was taken over by those people. Now, how come we are not training our people? Look, training is just not train and keep, but also practice, exercises should be carried out so that they are on top of it. But we are not doing that.
So where do you think this is going to lead us up to next? Because Kolade has been killed, and the trial will begin at some point. And hopefully Olalekan, who perpetrated this level of crime, will do his time. But at the end of it all, if SARS, as an operational body for the Nigerian police force, is having this kind of challenges, and we are looking at the possibility of having a different outfit to maybe to change from what SARS is to something that is completely different, that can work for the society and improve on the policing of our people, then one will be thinking of how best to go about it, which is one of the reasons we'll be looking at what way to go to try to get out of this somewhat quagmire, if you will. Yes. But we'll take that after this break. Join us again. Welcome back. As we wrap this up, I'm thinking about what must be done to Article 237 of the firearms of the force, because if firearms is a problem on the field, as you mentioned, then it becomes an even bigger challenge for anybody or even any operative, say in this instance, Olalekan, who went out to maybe make some arrests, but at the end of somebody got killed. Can he act alone to the extent that he will be needing some kind of formation, backups that all work together as a unit to invade any place and make arrests?
You know, I think operationally in the field, that's where we have the problem, where procedures are not followed. Procedures of arrest, of raiding a place, of making arrests, of searching a place, you know, these procedures are not followed. And I think it is now, you know, the new IG is a professional. And I believe that he could do something and etch his name in gold in the police force right now by withdrawing all the arms. You see, we are talking of, there are too many arms in the arms of policemen, which is not even accounted for. They are not supposed to take arms home to their houses. They are supposed to keep it there. When they report for duty, they pick up, they register for the arms, and they pick it up, and then go for whatever they want to do. And then when they come back, they surrender the arms. Now they are taking them home.
So what must be done to amend Force Order 237?
Well, the National Assembly have to come in there and then look at the Police Act and then, of course, the Firearm Act, and then amend the necessary sections of it, whereby the police itself has to give a lot of input into it, because they have to review their operations. They have to review their operations. Do we give arms to everybody? Before they said, okay, we can give arms to officers from sergeant upwards, we don't give to corporals. Now everybody is having arms. So we have to look at that, because there are too many arms in the system. And, you know, people are not temperate. You are supposed to be temperate in mind, sound in mind, temperate, just like pilots. If you're going to fly a plane, you don't get any alcohol into your system 24 hours before the flight. And here you find, even we have seen the videos all over the place, drunken policeman with a gun, you know, fighting with people, and sometimes they are being disarmed, and those arms are going into the wrong hands. So these are situations that the police have to do. Restructure, withdraw the arms, give it to the necessary people, plan, and I still insist, create a special weapons and tactics unit. Not the AK-47 that everybody is carrying around and even misbehaving with. There are different kinds of arms used for different kinds of situations, you know, which they could issue to different people. So that if you are going for a kidnap situation, you know the kind of arms you want to carry.
Okay, that will be a good place to let it rest. I must thank you so much indeed. Dennis Amakri, security consultant, also former SSS operative, for talking to us on the show.
Thank you very much.
All right, that's how it's been for this. Well, it's Friday. Guys, that's it from Lagos. I'm Gimba Umar.
Well, yes, indeed, and we also appreciate the emails that came through from Theo Ladimiji, Tari Doye, and several others. Well, keep them coming through. We'll see you next week. I'm Chamberlain Uso.
Thank you. I'm just about to sing. Thank God it's... But hey, I'll be singing later on hard copy. Thank you for watching. I'm out well going yourself.
You should be the next person to hit the studios. I am Makinde. Have a wonderful weekend.
Hinterland, here we come.
My guests on this program are those of the maker and do not reflect the views, opinions, and endorsement of Channels Television.